walking down a winding road, I see the sun that glows in every crack, in every stone where wildflowers grow. The whispers of the wind, they tell a tale of time. Every broken heart's a lesson dressed in quiet rhyme. Tangled heartstrings pull and tear, they guide us through the haze. Every note a melody that plays through all our days. Find the strength in every chord, the courage to let go. Life's a song we're writing slow through highs and every low. The river runs its course, it bends but never breaks, just like the choices that we make, the chances that we take. Silver thread through symphonies of sorrow and the words we've left unsaid. Tangled heartstrings pull and tear, they guide us through the haze. Every note a melody that plays through all our days. Find the strength in every chord, the courage to let go. Life's a song we're writing slow through highs and every low. Yo, it's the echoes of the past, the lessons in the cracks. We're patching up the holes in all the love we lack. Life's a dance, a crazy chance, a waltz beneath the moon. Keep the rhythm steady, cause the dawn is coming soon. So take a bow and play your part, no matter how it stings. The world will turn, the tune will change, but love's what always clings. The violin, it softly cries, the stars begin to fall. Through tangled heartstrings we will rise, we'll conquer after all. Tangled heartstrings pull and tear, they guide us through the haze. Every note a melody that plays through all our days. Find the strength in every chord, the courage to let go. Life's a song we're writing slow through highs and every low.
I look at them and I smile, as a reminder.
Appreciate them for who they are, love and believe in their abilities, and just be there for them. The little things matter. So make sure you are in line with all the little things that they love.
I feel like for me it's always checking up on them and reassurance.
For me, I think in acts of service.
I wouldn't even say consistent communication. I'd say just acts of kindness, and being present, I'd say is the biggest thing for me. So, yeah.
One thing I can do is provide a safe space for my partner to be heard and understood, and safe to be authentic and vulnerable with me without judgments and with patience. Yeah, that's one thing I can do.
I've been in a relationship for 2 years now, so I feel generally just listening, understanding what their needs are, and just ideally just staying proactive within the relationship. So just going out on dates and doing certain things in order to keep their needs met. Yeah, I feel I mean, I don't know. I feel like we just have open communication. So at the end of the day, like we just have a good relationship. So it just works out at the end of the day.
I think it depends on the core values. I don't think you can be totally opposite on your core values. So I would need a little bit more than that. But core values are really important. Mine are personal development, community, legacy, adventure. And so if I found someone who didn't value those things, I don't think it would work.
I think total opposites can work.
I
definitely.
think so too.
But it really depends on your communication style. That's when it becomes.
And like your maturity level.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think they can work.
It could, but you got to find like a ground zero, I'd say. Like there's got to be some sort of similar connection, whether that's like what you guys like or what you guys are currently doing in your daily life. So say, for example, some person is working as a government official and someone else is unemployed, like there might be a disconnect there. So, I mean, I think having some sort of connection is probably big. Yeah.
I think you need similar interests at the end of the day. Like you guys have to be like fighting towards a similar goal. Total opposites though, I think it really just depends on, you know, the people, like, and what the differences are. But I mean, in my situation, like we're definitely like complement each other well. So I maybe not be the best person to ask this, but at the end of the day, like I think it can work. It really just depends on what your guys' end goals are. So
I think it can work because you gotta see a person for who they are deep inside than what they present outside. So being totally opposite doesn't. I don't think it has to do with what the heart desires. So as much as the heart desires you, you're good to go.
I don't really think total opposites can work that well. Like, it would have to be total opposites in the way where it's like puzzle piece, like it's just like the other person fulfills everything the other person doesn't fulfill, but whatever. But I don't think it can work because they're not gonna be able to understand each other like fully when things might get hard and you need to understand each other.
Hey, I know we are so late tonight, but guess what? Beauty takes time. I know we had a whole lot to pack into last week, and it doesn't stop there. This week, we're going to continue with my favorite word, communication. It is the foundation, 100% the foundation to a successful, happy, and fulfilling life. Guys, come on, let's use communication. When we communicate with those around us, it helps us. Andrea, it looks like it's just you and me this week. Oh no.
Yay, it's about time. It's about time.
I think we can handle it. Life gets messy, but that doesn't mean love has to. Are you ready to untangle some of these heartstrings?
I am. I love that we've been talking about communication, as we all know. And I just think it's like one of the biggest, if not the biggest components of a solid, healthy relationship. So kind of talking through these things and asking questions and taking time to understand each other, it can only push your relationship to a higher level, in my opinion, right? But all right, what happens when the communication piece just isn't working though? How do you get through those moments, those conversations? And sometimes in dating, we're subject to a lot of frustration. We have anger, we have disappointment. So how do we handle all of those things without communication? There is a key common word here that we're using because it applies to everything, right? So I don't know, do we throw tantrums? Do we just ghost someone so we don't have to deal with them? Or do we find a way to dig deep and communicate? So Mia, how do you handle things with your husband when you get way, or if you think he's wrong? Are you a tantrum thrower?
If I think he's wrong, Oh, if I think he's wrong, that is like, it depends on what he's wrong about. So if it's something mundane, it's not a big deal to me. But if it's something that like I'm passionate about and I think he's wrong about it, I am 100% dude.
You just
Listen to me. Hear those words coming out of this beautiful mouth because guess what? This bitch is right. And that's how that works. But I heard you did say tantrums. I will say when I was younger, I was big on the tantrums and it didn't really help. To be honest with you, it was more of a hindrance to trying to get to the root of the problem when I threw the tantrum than for me to come out and say, hey, this is what's bothering me. This is, the things that you're doing. And these are the ways that we can fix it. So, I mean, tantrums are good to get your point across.
Yeah.
But nah, I don't think they really work that great.
They didn't work as kids, right? I mean, usually, like, you've got 5 kids. I've got 2 kids. They would throw their little tantrums, and all it would do would infuriate me more. And I'd be like, go to your room, go sit in the corner. Don't talk to me right now. It just didn't work that way because you want them to use their words and communicate with you and tell you what their problem is. Why are they upset? Are they hungry? Do they want to go outside and play? Communicate instead of just throwing a tantrum. And you'd think we'd learned that by now as adults. That it doesn't
as
work
adults, we don't learn that. As adults, because as a child, most of the time, and especially with this gentle parenting going on, when we throw those tantrums, we're being rewarded for them. And it started in the mid 90s. These new age parents were like, oh my gosh, my kid is throwing a tantrum. Let's go ahead and give them what they want because that's going to fix the problem in the meantime. But it's truly not fixing the problem. It's teaching us and making us go into our adult stage thinking if we throw a tantrum, we're going to get what we want.
Right.
And as an adult, that shit doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't. And I think that I was trying to think if I actually throw like a tantrum, like I'm like, am I doing that? No, that's how I picture tantrum in my head. But I do shut down. Like if I kind of don't get my way, I'll shut down. I start pouting. I might get a little passive aggressive. And so I have to catch myself on that and go, okay, is this the way we're going to handle this conversation? And then because I don't want it to become like where the man thinks every time I don't get my way, I'm going to just pout and throw my little fit. I want him to know that I'm here to communicate and talk things through. And so I really have to think about that before I start throwing tantrums. No bueno.
And I agree with you. Before we get upset about the problem, maybe if we open up and kind of tell them what the actual problem is, because our partners don't know. Our partners are not mind readers. The people around us, our coworkers, our kids, people standing in line next to us at the register, they're not mind readers.
Right.
So until they know the root of the problem cannot be solved. So by throwing a tantrum, it's not solving a problem. It's just causing a bigger problem to me. Yes, it may have worked when we were a child and early on in our relationship, but our partner is going to get sick of that. Is going to get sick of, hey, you're not getting your way, so you're going to ignore me. You're going to hold sex from me. You're going to do whatever you need to do to get your point across, but it's just going to piss me off more. So by opening up and using my favorite word, communication, we can discuss those things with our partner rather than throwing the tantrum. We can say, hey, I don't know. Give me an example, Andrea, to use.
Of something that I would throw a tantrum about?
Something you would throw a tantrum about.
Not getting, like if I want to have a certain food for dinner and I want to go to a certain place and I've already said it, that's what I want. And then he's like,
but they're not in the mood for that tonight.
Yeah. Not my
Okay.
problem.
So, but that is truly, that's your craving. That's what you want. That's what your need that needs to be met at that moment for you to be happy and fulfilled.
Yeah.
But your partner is hungry also, and they have a need and a want that needs to be fulfilled also. So instead of throwing that tantrum, you can sit there and be like, okay, I know that you don't want Mexican tonight, and I don't want Italian tonight, and that's what he wants. Then maybe you guys can compromise and be like, okay, instead, we'll go get burgers.
Yeah.
It's, a traditional American thing to go do, and you go and get burgers instead, and you compromise on that rather than throwing the tantrum and getting the fit because you're not getting Mexican food. He doesn't feel like Mexican. He wants Italian, but you don't want Italian. And he's not throwing a fit about not getting that Italian. So compromise on that rather than throwing the tantrum and causing a fight.
Yes.
So finding that middle ground is probably going to be the most important part of your communication.
Mm-hmm.
Finding that happy place in between. Because yes, we're going to throw a tantrum, but what if they turn around and throw a tantrum also? And we're both sitting there in this fit and nothing's going to get solved. We're still both going to sit here hungry.
Yeah.
We're both going to be pissed. We're both going to be angry. Nobody's getting any tonight.
Well, and that's the thing that I was going to touch on with what you're saying is those last two things, especially. It's like one thing when you throw your little tantrum and you're going to, get all worked up about something. How far does that go? Do you then go to bed when you're angry? We are really proponents of saying don't go to bed angry, right? So we want to make sure that we're actually talking that through. And then another thing is when you said that neither of you are getting sex, or you said you're maybe going to hold off on the sex, we also want to be very careful about weaponizing sex, because you don't want to have that stigma of sex being tied to something that is maybe a negative outcome, like your tantrum. So in the future, every time you throw a tantrum, he's like, shit, well, I'm not getting sex tonight. We don't really want it to be.
Yes. Okay, Angela, I have to stop you there because I completely agree.
Yeah.
We don't go to bed angry. That is the most important part. And that's why communication and getting our feelings out and heard and actually listening to our partner when they give us feedback is the most important part of the relationship. Mm-hmm. Yes, we love each other. Yes, we love having sex. But if we're having those tantrums and we're having those fights, and then we're going to bed angry and we're holding sex against each other, that's creating another rift within the relationship also. So getting that communication in there and really focusing on that is so important. It can create a better relationship. It can create a better sex life. And you're not going to bed angry. You're not holding sex from your partner, because honestly, that is the worst thing you can do to your partner. Yes. Because that is telling them that, hey, I don't love you. Hey, I don't have time to spend with you. Hey, I'm not going to make you a priority, especially when it comes to sex, because mental health and sex go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. I don't care what anybody in this universe says. If we are not sexually satisfied, our mental health is not okay. Mm-hmm. And when we resent sex from our partner, it's creating that look in their eyes that they're not the most important person to you. Right. You're not finding that time for them. You're not making them a priority. And it's not that sex is the priority. It's the lack of sex creates the lack of priority.
Yes, and I think you're not respecting the sanctity of the sex at all either, right? You're just making it, like I said, you're kind of weaponizing it, and you're using it as something you can hold against them should they not do exactly what you want. So you never want to You never want to do that because that's not a healthy relationship. That's really somebody kind of taking control of that relationship and holding that over you. And you got to think about, if the tables were turned, would I want him holding something over me just because I don't want to do exactly what he wants me to do, or eat a burger? Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we don't always want to eat a burger, guys. So, you know,
It's a metaphor for something.
Right.
And I always want to eat
So sometimes, you know, you don't want the Mexican, but you want your partner to be happy.
Yeah.
So you go and get the Mexican anyways, or you don't want the Italian and you want the Mexican, but hey, you know, they're willing to take you out anyways. They're willing to take that time out of their day. They've worked 16 hours, or maybe they've worked 5, maybe they've worked 2. It's the point that they're willing to take you out. They're taking that time away from themselves and going to take you out. So go ahead and go get the Italian, even though that's not what you want. You're gonna find something on the menu. And if you can't find something on the menu, guess what? There's always time for dessert. Let them eat and go get something sweet afterwards.
Yeah. I always say that because I'm not a big sushi person, but like, yeah, I just don't like raw stuff, but I'll do like the California roll or like a shrimp tempura roll or something. So I always say, you know, if I'm like, they're like, everybody wants sushi, you know, you want sushi tonight? And I'm like, but I'll compromise and go, you know what, we can go. I'll find something, right? There'll be something, even if I'm just having some fried rice or something, I'll find something. So
exactly.
just compromising and coming up with a solution together. Hey, okay, we'll do Mexican tonight, but tomorrow night let's maybe do Italian or switch it up, you know.
Right, exactly. And I mean, plan your date nights if you guys know that you like different types of food.
Yeah.
You know, go ahead and plan, hey, you know, this Thursday we're going to go get Mexican, and next Thursday we're going to go get burgers. And I know you mentioned Italian last week, so this week we'll go ahead and grab Italian. And you guys don't have to do date nights every single week.
Yeah.
But making that time for your partner is important. But Andrea, I know that we were talking about something this week that can, you know, having all of these feelings and trying to make all of these decisions together can kind of create a burnout. Like you rescind into yourself and you don't want to do anything anymore. How do you feel about that? Reaching that burnout point.
Yeah, this happens to me probably once a month where I'm just like kind of burned out, but I think it's the nature of our environment, right? It's like the social media that we're constantly on. We got to keep up with all the time. You know, they have if you're not consistent, you're not going to continue to grow. So that's like this hidden pressure constantly of having to keep up, you know, and then, you know, trying to find, for me, I'm single, so I'm dating, and it's like trying to find the stamina to do it over and over and have the same conversations with a new person all the time. It is hard. And it's hard because you start to feel like a robot. Like, I'm like, oh my God, how many times have I told this story? And then I know exactly where I need to laugh, and I know exactly where to interject a little funny comment, you know, because I've told it so many times. I know what the reaction is going to be, especially because I have a relationship podcast and everybody wants to like be on the show. That's, you know, it's so wild. And it burns me out because it's like the first, you know, conversation with them, they're like, oh, I've got stories for you. I want to be on your show. And I'm just like, wait.
No, that is not cool. Okay, guys, if you are going on a date with Andrea, you are not allowed to ask her about her podcast. You are not allowed to ask her about anything to do with work. It is strictly supposed to be fun.
A fun date.
Seriously.
Stories later. I'm going to get the stories later. If we're a good match, a good connection, I'm going to get the stories later. So we don't need to sit and I don't need to hear all your dating stories like on the first night. Like, let me hear about you. So that gives me total burnout. I mean, I could go on all day about my burnout.
Right. So let me ask you, I know that you're in that dating mode right now, and I haven't experienced that in so freaking long, but what do you do once you reach that burn, I know it's hard not to reach it because everybody's going to reach it so many times within their life. And it's because we don't know how to slow down.
Yeah.
So what do you do once you reach that burnout point?
So for me, I need to just, I used to just burn right through it. I say I would ignore it and I would just go with the flow. And then you tend to get to a point where you just explode, right? Where you're like, I got enough. And so I stopped allowing myself to get to that point. Instead, I just take time. I'll get off the dating apps for sure, because I'll go just a little bit of a spurt with that and kind of see how it's going, see if there's anybody new, if there's anybody of interest or that I want to go out with. But very quickly, you can get burnout on the dating apps because it's often, I'm just being real, it's often the same people, right, that are on there. Sometimes you end up chatting with a bot. You don't even know that you are. So you're having this whole conversation with a bot who turns out to be nobody. You might have somebody that just unmatches you for absolutely no reason. So that's kind of frustrating. And that gives you like, oh gosh, or they ghost you, which we're going to talk about that next too, about being ghosted and stuff. But I just think that for me, I just have to sign off for a little bit. I have to get back to me. I have to get grounded. I have to go, okay, I've had enough of this nonsense. Like, let's be real again and discover that maybe it's just better for me to be by myself for a few days, calm down, get my sanity back, do things that I love to do, get a massage, go get my hair done, my nails done, whatever, right? To just feed into myself again.
I love that. I love that because it's important. And even if you're not dating, even if you're not on social media posting and you have a following or anything like that, it's important to just stop.
Yes.
Stop everything that you're doing. Absolutely everything that you're doing. Just stop. Because you've reached a point in your body, your mind, your mental health, your happiness is the biggest thing that matters.
Yeah.
Nobody else around you, not your spouse, not your kids, not anything. Because you can't take care of your spouse, you can't take care of your kids, and you can't take care of your coworkers and your job unless you're mentally happy and healthy.
Yeah.
So stop everything. And even if you have work that day, you wake up and you are just, I can't today. You call in. It doesn't matter if you have whatever you call it, a paid time off, PTO, if you have any type of paid time off, you do not have to worry about that because honestly, your mental health and your happiness are so much more important than money.
Yeah.
I will tell you right now, I will take an entire day. I will take an entire week. I will take an entire month. I don't care. I will stop everything that I'm doing if I am burnt out. And I will take time to me. I will say no to everybody. I will completely take to myself. I won't wash dishes. I won't fold laundry. I won't do those things that I normally do. And sometimes we think as, we see our partner do those things and we think, oh my gosh, they're going into a depressive state. And we're not. We're truly not going into a depressive state. We have just reached that point where we're done.
Yeah, we need a reset,
take
right?
that break because we've taken care of everything at home. We've taken care of everything at work. We've taken care of everything for our partner, and we haven't stopped to take care of ourselves. And we're going to talk about this just a little bit later with some me time stuff. I'm going to hit on that just a little bit and let you guys know how important that me time is. But once you hit that burnout stage, I love that you take and just stop. Because stopping the dating and stopping, the overworking yourself. Yes, you're still going to have to go to work, obviously. But taking an entire day is important. Just stopping and thinking like, hey, what is my next goal? So we'll set a goal at this point. What is my next goal that I want to reach? Because that's going to put in your mindset of, hey, I've reached this burnout point. I'm over what I have been doing, and I need to kind of change what I'm doing so I don't reach this burnout point at this again. So we're going to create a goal here, and we're going to be like, okay, this is what I'm going to reach for, and then we'll start on that process. It's going to give you a whole new outlook on life. It's going to give you a whole new outlook on everything that you're doing and be able to focus better on the path that you're choosing.
Yeah. I find myself, I do that actually quite often when I just have had, usually by Fridays, midday, I'm like done, like I just can't wait to be done. And I really struggle with it. And I'm sure a lot of people do because we're so used to just going, right? We feel like a little bit like we're disappointing somebody or we're letting ourselves down if we're not doing exactly what we had on our list to do for the day or we didn't get everything done. And there's some days I am just like, fuck it, I'm done. Like I just got to stop and I just stop what I'm doing. And maybe I just go and I might go down to the pool and just like chill at the pool for a little bit to give myself that reset. Or I might, just be like, I'm going to cut out early today. And so I think just doing little things for yourself that helps you get back your sanity when you're in a place where you no longer have it is very important.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
I think that's truly important, is just stopping and focusing on yourself. And that'll get you out of that burnout point.
Yeah.
And it works for you, doesn't it?
It does.
It does. It works. It works so well. And if you haven't done that yet at this point, and you are feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do tomorrow. Don't do tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just don't. Sit there at home, read a book, listen to music, go have a shot of whiskey at 9 a.m. Make it a day about you.
Yeah.
Because we all need a day for ourselves to sit back, stop, refresh, and rethink.
Yep. Great advice.
All right, guys. I know that our favorite part of the show is our MOS questions. It's where we get you as the viewers out here on the street and find out what you guys think of our burning questions in our mind. When we are sitting here writing our script and trying to figure out what we're going to do for the show, we come up with questions and we're like, okay, I wish I knew what our viewers thought about this. So here is our next question. And that will be, 1 second. I have to, oh, shoot. Was it, oh, no. I remember what it was now. It completely slipped my mind. What? It happens sometimes, guys. We forget. What's the one thing you do solo, that me time? What's the one thing you do solo that gives you pleasure other than sex? Let us know in the comments, guys. Let us know what you think.
Make it good. Just as good.
There's a lot of things. I mean, I don't think one thing. I mean, honestly, just like work in general. I feel like working towards a specific goal that I have in mind, like the idea I have for my family in general is like super broad. Like obviously I really want to be a provider for those individuals, and it's late at night. Keep in mind my answer here is coming from 1 p.m. on a DC night, but I do have really specific goals towards like what I want for my family, and I feel like that in general, like fulfilling those goals throughout my day gives me purpose and pleasure. So I mean, that's definitely like, I guess, one thing, but like but yeah, keeping those things in mind and just doing what I need to do throughout on a daily basis is important. So
Sleeping, eating food, spicy good food for that matter.
I think taking naps. Yeah, I like to sleep a lot during my free days.
Yeah. Trying a new food spot. Yeah, that could be nice.
I like jump around in my room by myself and like go like this. And I like talk to myself and like scream and sing and like dance.
I wouldn't say sex is like the biggest thing for me anyway. I'd say one thing that gives me pleasure is just like working on my like personal like fitness, whether that's running or going to the gym. I think working on yourself and your physical appearance, whether that's for you or for somebody else, is probably the biggest thing. I run on a consistent basis. I go to the gym on a consistent basis because I think the first step of like having some sort of self-belief is knowing that you have some value. And I think going to the gym and working out and going on runs is what does it for me. So
Exploration and adventure. I take solo trips all the time. I've been solo to Ghana and Mexico. I have a solo trip planned to go to Cuba. And that, that's a core value of mine, of just exploring and being adventurous and spontaneous. So that's how I give myself pleasure, eat all the things, kind of like that eat, pray, love energy. That makes me happy. It brings me joy. It gives me pleasure.
Hey guys, we see you in the chat. Ruth, Nelson, Wizzy. Hey guys, I'm sorry that we're not able to actually respond to the chat tonight because we don't have a lot of time because, of course, it's my birthday weekend and I took too long to get ready today. I do like that one of the answers was naps, though. I will totally tell you that is 100% my thing. 100%. Naps are my go-to.
Are you like how they say don't take a nap more than like 15 minutes because it can totally mess up your.
No.
You're like, no, I'm out for hours.
We're gonna sleep as long as Mia wants to sleep. Nobody's gonna wake Mia up because guess what? Mia turns into a witch.
Oh, okay.
With a bee if she gets woken up.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We all see red flags and say, I would never allow that. But we have to remember we all have boundaries we set, and our hard nose and maybe someone else's hell yeses. But let's talk about setting those boundaries and sticking to them and how it can improve our mental health by moving on from things that break our boundaries. We have set, Andrea, has there been a time that in your life that you have set a boundary and somebody has kind of navigated or tried to navigate that boundary and you've kind of had to cut them off?
Yes, unfortunately. And I am in the phase of my life where I'm really sticking to my boundaries a lot, especially with dating and stuff, because you can sometimes lose track of that. And especially the harder it is to find a partner or to, be engaging with more people, the less you're going to set your boundaries. You tend to taper back and you accept things that you normally wouldn't accept because there's less people to provide it for you at this point, right? You start getting worried the older we get. You start going, oh gosh, where am I going with this? I better just settle for something else. So I tend to set my boundaries there. But to answer your specific question, yes, I had to set a boundary with a very close friend of mine. We'd been best friends for like 20 years, a very long time. And it just got to the point where the friendship wasn't really servicing either of us anymore. And I hate to say it that way. It just really wasn't. It just like we both weren't finding the excitement in the friendship. We weren't necessarily like responding to each other the way we should or being there for each other. We were being a little bit more catty and we were just starting to recognize this. And so that was one of the hardest things I had to do. I just said that this friendship isn't really serving me anymore. And it's not that I don't love you or care about you. I just can't have that kind of toxicity in my life right now. And so I cut that off. And that was coming up on 2 years ago. We haven't spoken since. So wow. Yeah, so that was a really tough boundary. I don't know if we'll ever get back to that place. I would definitely be open. I think everybody needs a reset like that and just to kind of, find your way again. Maybe at that point when I'm looking back, I might have just been in a tough place in my life that I wasn't really discussing or acknowledging, or didn't, I say acknowledging, like even for myself, maybe I just didn't realize that was a really tough time for me, or I wasn't handling things the way I should have. And so
I don't think it was that, Andrea. We grow within ourselves every single day.
Yeah.
And our life experiences that day will reflect on how we feel the next day. And every day we're going to be able to set new boundaries for ourselves because we're going to learn that those things bother us. And that person was doing things that was bothering you. And that's okay that you had set that new boundary even after a 20-year friendship.
Yeah. It was really hard.
I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was extremely hard.
Yeah.
But being able to be in that self-control, knowing that that is affecting your mental health and how you perceive life, and that you're not okay with it, and being able to set that boundary, it is so freeing.
Yeah.
It opens up so many more aspects of your life when you set those boundaries. So don't look, and I don't know that you do look at it negatively, but losing a friend can hurt for a moment. It can gain so much more for a lifetime.
Yeah.
When you're not meeting, and I'm not necessarily, they don't have to meet all of your needs, obviously, because they're in person. But when they're not meeting needs that you have set boundaries for and having to cut them out of your life, it shouldn't ever be looked at negatively. And I think a lot of people do see that as a negative aspect of your personality when you cut people out of your life. But if they were to see where you're at now, than where you were when you were within that friendship, they would be able to see that, hey, you're happier and healthier and you're thriving. You set that boundary and let that person go.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love for it to, honestly, I'd love for it to come around again. I'm always open to that, especially such a friendship that was so long that we built over a period of time. But I think that in that moment, we just needed to kind of go our separate ways, figure out what we both want. We just lived very different lives. And so it made it very difficult to maybe understand each other's lives and to be there for each other as much as we needed. And so I think that, from figuring that out, it might just be like a blip in time that we are not friends, and then we can, reconvene later. And I really hope that we do. I hope that we do. I still care about her and love her. I just don't think the timing was right for the friendship that we were both looking for. So that was a lot of self-discovery.
I'm really, really glad that you said that you still care about her and you still love her. Because even though we cut people out of our lives, that doesn't mean that we lose any of that love or compassion that we hold for that person. It just means that they are not a efficient person in our life at that moment. And as we grow and as we change, that moment can change and that person can come back into our life. Or if that person decides that they don't want to better themselves, or that they're going to continue down the same path that caused them to lose our friendship, then, that is on them at that point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, setting boundaries in all of your relationships and sticking to them without exceptions helps us keep our mental health in check. Do you still have that same boundary now? Are you willing to change that boundary to allow that person back into your life?
I am. Because I think it was a moment in time kind of boundary. It was just where I was in that particular time and space. And I didn't have the capacity, the bandwidth to have that kind of friendship, because it was just taking me down a different path than I was trying to lead. So I think that now I'm a lot more centered and I know what I'm looking for. I'm intentional about everything that I'm doing at this point. And so I do think that I could open up that space again to allow in a friend. It may never be the friendship that we once had. I don't know if it'll ever be that she'll be that confidant for me, or I will for her. But I don't know that I need it to be or that I want it to be, because it didn't end in the way that I had hoped it would end. So maybe it's the best is to just try something new and build it back up and see where it goes and just go from there. I don't know. It's a hard call, but I would welcome it.
I understand that completely. I truly do.
Yeah.
I think, excuse me, that a boundary in a moment of time is one of the most important boundaries that you can set, because it is showing that you're changing and you're healing and you're becoming the person that you're supposed to be. And those boundaries that are set in time always change. We have boundaries that we set that are strict. We are not going to love somebody that doesn't love us back. That is a strict boundary that we can set for ourselves. But maybe a boundary, like the boundary that you had with your friend, is just a moment in time boundary, and those do change.
Yeah.
And opening up your heart and being able to accept that person back into your life. And even if they're not willing to come back into your life, having that willingness to let them back in is showing that you're growing as a person also.
Yeah. And I also think that people really need to understand that with boundaries, it's not about the other person. It's about me. It's about the person setting the boundary. It's something that I just have to decide in my life. I've had enough of this, or I've had enough of that. I want to set this boundary for myself. And people tend to get really worked up when you've set a boundary, right? They're all upset, like, well, how could she do that? How could she say that? How could she not talk to me anymore? But it's not about you. And you, as my friend or my person or whoever you are to me, needs to respect that I have these boundaries. And if they can't do that and respect that, then they need to move on anyways, right? Because you don't want people that are not willing to understand where you're coming from and be there for you when you're even setting a boundary. It doesn't have to be as harsh as cutting them off. I'm just saying, if I'm like, yeah, I have a boundary of every night at 10 o'clock, I turn off my phone and I'm not going to accept your calls. Or if like a guy's trying to call at 10:30 at night, I'm setting my boundary and saying, hey, that is not acceptable for me. I want to be, talked to during normal hours. You can't just get a hold of me whenever you want at 11:30 or 12 or whatever. It's just setting a boundary because I'm respecting myself is what I'm doing.
Right. And setting those boundaries. And like I said, not making an exception.
Yeah.
If you're in this dating world and you set a boundary of 10 p.m., I'm not answering that phone after 10 p.m., then you don't answer that phone for anybody on that you're dating or that you're potentially dating after 10 p.m. Once you start answering it at 10:02 or 10:10 or 10:15, then it starts up the okay, well, she answered it for this person.
Yes.
Not that they know that you answered it for that person, but you do. So you're going to answer it for the next person, and then you're going to answer it for the next person. And it's going to become an 11 p.m. phone call instead of a 10 p.m. phone call.
Yeah. And I literally, Mia, I have to say these things to myself because they will text late at night, right? Like that. And I know the moment I respond to that, now we've pushed that boundary, right? So now we're into the next, okay, she let me do it. We're going to just keep pushing and pushing, right? So I have to really be sincere about it. And I have to really tell myself, even though I might see it, maybe I do want to respond. Maybe I really like the guy and I do want to respond. I have to tell myself, I'm going to set this boundary now because he's going to respect that tomorrow night. He's not going to be texting me at that time tomorrow night or the next night, right? So every time I accept it, I'm letting myself down and I'm letting him know that I don't have enough respect for myself to respect my own boundaries. So you got to be really careful about really sticking to what you're saying. And I saw Wizzy set in here, the hardest part is sticking to the boundary once you set it. It is absolutely the hardest part, but that's what a boundary is. It's not meant to be easy. It's meant to be a hard stop. Like, I've had enough.
Right. Boundaries are not like red flags. I kind of want to get into that just a little bit. Red flags are things that we see and we're like, oh my goodness, I would never. And then you do. You allow those things to happen and you move past them and you communicate through them. Boundaries are things you're not willing to communicate through. Boundaries are things that you have set, and those are rules that your partner is going to follow. you're going to give me flowers every 3 weeks. That's a boundary you can set. Or it can be as small as I need a text message every morning to let me know that you got to work okay. These are boundaries we can set with our partners. There are boundaries that you can set in other aspects of your life, but tonight we're going to focus on partners. You can set boundaries of, hey, I'm working late and I'm going to make sure that I text you. And that's a boundary you set for yourself. Mm-hmm. I'm working late and I need to make sure that I text my partner so they know that I'm working late. You don't have to set boundaries just for your partner. You can set boundaries for yourself also.
Mm-hmm. And boundaries don't have to be a negative thing, Mia, right?
Exactly. Boundaries are not a negative thing at all. And I don't ever
like, oh, she's got her boundaries. She has her boundaries. Sometimes they can be a positive boundary. Like, I'm going to set my boundary on this one thing because I want something bigger than that. So it's a bigger perspective.
Boundaries should never be thought of as a negative aspect of your personality. Having boundaries keeps you safe. It keeps your mental health safe. It keeps your happiness safe. By setting boundaries, it is going to create a more fulfilling life. And having a fulfilling life creates happiness, and happiness is important to live life. Because we don't want to live life unhappy. It's no fun at all. Nobody likes it.
No. And I think boundaries are also as simple as saying no.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And when you say Nelson said it took me years to learn that saying no is a complete sentence. Yes is a complete sentence. No is a complete sentence.
Yes. 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 It's a complete sentence, and no is a complete sentence. And when you say no, no means no.
Yeah.
No one but you can decide to change.
They are the people in the back.
If somebody is trying to pressure you into changing your mind, that situation makes you uncomfortable or makes you feel unsafe, then you're not in a good situation. And you should leave that situation immediately. Nobody, if they care about you and your happiness and making sure that you are safe and fulfilled, should ever pressure you into doing something that you do not want to do. So when you say no, it's no.
Yeah.
Everything stops, whether it is sex, it is a conversation that you need to walk away from. If it is a work situation, you need to walk away from. If it is your children and you are yelling at them and you're like, no, 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 you just need to walk away from them, because no means no. It doesn't change.
We always get
I don't understand why people think that no means yes at any point in life.
Yeah. And we end up getting to the point with the kids. We're like, no. I said no. We get to that point because we just don't want to listen.
All right, guys. I promised you we were going to talk about some me time. So when we say no, no means no. And that means that we get me time afterwards. Me time is just that. It's you alone doing something that only you enjoy. Taking a walk in nature, enjoying a glass of whiskey or wine while in a bubble bath. Yes, gentlemen, you can do that too. I promise. It's time spent alone to wind down, shut off the brain, and just relax. And we should never feel guilty about that, ever. I believe that time saved me at one point. I'm going to be completely honest with you. If I did not have me time, I would be a complete and total freaking mess. So taking time to yourself is probably one of my top priorities. It can be anything, like I said, taking a walk in the woods. But if you're like me and you love music, go ahead and find some meditation music. Spend that 30 minutes by yourself in the bubble bath, getting your nails done, brushing your hair, anything that you truly enjoy. Taking that time to yourself is so important. Even if it is only 15 minutes. I say 30 minutes because 30 minutes gets you 15 minutes of a rundown and 15 minutes of a pick me back up. But if you can only do 15 minutes, make sure that first 5 minutes is taking your time to just shut completely down. 5 minutes a day to shut completely down is okay. I promise it is not taking time away from your kids. It is not taking time away from your spouse. And it is definitely not fucking taking time away from work. 5 minutes a day, shut down. Sorry, you just have to do it. We tend to forget about ourselves and lives, always worrying about the bills. Did you remember to put money on the little account at lunch? How in the hell am I going to be in 3 freaking places at one time? I mean, Andrea, we have all of these things running through our head constantly every single day. I know as a person who is neurodivergent and her brain does not shut down. The only thing I can get my brain to shut down to is a pair of headphones.
Yeah.
I stick them in, stick it on blast, go out and smoke a joint, enjoy a glass of whiskey, but I'm shutting down at least 5 minutes a day.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're the whiskey drinker. I'm like, there's a lot of whiskey references today. I didn't know where that was coming from.
I am the whiskey drinker. My husband prefers beer. I do like fruity drinks, but give me a glass of whiskey and I'm the happiest girl in the world.
That's funny. That's so opposite of a fruity drink. Yes, I agree with you. I'm kind of like, I've started doing different things, I think, to just kind of let my mind settle, because I'm in the same place. I think we've got so much going on these days and being pulled in so many different directions that our brain doesn't know what to do. And we're constantly just all over the place. I'm going from morning till night. I'm just like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. So I tend to, I'll use like the white noise or something at, I put it on so that it comes on first thing in the morning while I'm just laying in bed, because I will just lay there and my mind will just run wild, right? So I got to put on like the white noise or crashing waves or something just to kind of change that up a little. I also like to do things, I like to be by myself most evenings and just kind of chill. I'm not a joint smoker, but I do like some edibles. So I'll do like an edible and just zone out and just enjoy my time. And I love that. I might go to a movie. I'll go to a movie by myself. I don't care. It's actually better sometimes. You don't need anybody talking and eating in your ear. You can just enjoy it. I also go to either the gym or I'll go walk the beach in the mornings. I go for like a 3-mile walk in the morning and just like center myself on the beach. I just like ground myself, put my feet in the sand and just have moments. So it's just about finding those little moments throughout the day that I think make such a big difference. And it allows you to get yourself back to where you need to be.
I agree. And I know we mentioned a joint and edibles, guys. Please make sure that you're checking with your health professional first before you try them. I am all for the medical side of it, and it does help relax you a little bit, but go ahead and talk to your medical professional before you try something you've never tried before. And make sure you're in a legal state. We both are. By the way, we are both in legal states.
Yes,
so
we are. I'm gonna set it.
All right, guys. Let's not forget, when we're using me time, we can also use that time for self-pleasure. And you know what? I know that some of our partners get a little bit upset about it, but if we're communicating with our partner that, hey, we're having some me time, it shouldn't be an issue, guys. Truly, it shouldn't be an issue. So I know that I take a little bit of that extra self-pleasure for myself. Andrea, is that something that would be beneficial? I mean, I know it's beneficial to me, but I've never asked somebody this question. Is it beneficial to you to have that time? Because I know that when I have an orgasm, it turns me into a totally different person.
Yes, it is for me. It can just be random times for me though. It's really like in the mood that I'm in. And so I'll just be honest, it's more difficult for me when I've had an edible, I will admit. So it's a long process. So I got to be prepared for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. So it just depends on like how much time I have, how tired I am, how high I am. You know, it could be all different scenarios, but yeah, I like it. Is that what
Right? I think everybody
Yeah.
likes it. All right, guys. I think we are gonna hit on this some more in the next episode. I know I need a little me time now.
We're out of here.
Andrea, I think TJ will be not back next week. We will be back. Oh, wait, we're taking a break, not next week. We'll be back at the beginning of November to untangle more of your heartstrings. Until next time, guys, take some self-care pleasure time.
Set your boundaries. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Song unsung, a cry unheard, we rise, we fall, but the chords still play. Guidance is found in the light of day. The violin sings as the credits roll. A melody soft, it soothes the soul. Tangled heartstrings